What's good, everybody? This is Generation 71 coming back to you with some more Let's Play Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. Last time we ended up finishing most of this area here. There's one more exit that I haven't done yet, but I'll do that eventually. And I guess I was going to talk about something happy, because last episode was kind of depressing, so we really want to talk about something happy. And honestly, okay, so don't take this the wrong way. I'm having trouble thinking of something happy, but don't think it's like, oh my god, my life's so depressing, I'm so emo, blah, 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 blah. No, it's just like there are some moments, or a lot of moments, obviously, that have been happy, that have been joyful, but to actually, point them out, like, on voice command, it's kind of hard. I mean, sometimes it also is, in a way, for sad moments as well. But, I mean, sometimes we have to kind of admit that our society, we are kind of just about negativity, and we do hold negativity higher than we do positivity. That should have hit that was stupid. But it's kind of iffy when you get to that, because again, we should all always focus on the positive, even if we don't always do so. And that's an oxymoron on itself. But to think about something happy, and I actually did think about something happy, is when my sister was born. But just actually a story involving my sister, when my parents told me, this was before the separation, they were pregnant, they had another kid on the way, and I was like, I was a kid, I didn't really understand, even though my parents say that I really didn't want, another sibling, like most kids. At this point, I mean, I try to remember those parts, and I don't see that ever happening. And my sister's awesome. I mean, sometimes she gets kind of annoying, but all siblings do. I mean, I'm sure I get annoying to her all the time too. So, but I just remember there was this one time I was actually going through a bunch of videotapes, old cassette plates, with a camcorder, and I had seen this one particular camcorder where my dad was actually cooking in a trailer, and then somebody zoomed in on my sister. And then you see her, and she was like maybe not even, I want to say 9 months old. Besides the 9 months she was in, my mom. Okay, we're not even going there. But she was about 9 months old, and she actually, I didn't think that'd work. She was eating, but then she started actually falling asleep, and it just looked really, really adorable. Really, really adorable. That was not supposed to go through that. Well, frick you too, bro. But it was really adorable, because obviously when babies do anything, it's adorable. But the other time too, and most of these have to do with kind of like moments we kind of captured and we may have lost, but we can still kind of remember. It had to do with my sister. And we were playing guitar, and my mom was playing guitar, and my sister had this microphone. And it was awesome, because I was filming it on my phone, because I was trying to film my mom play guitar. She wanted me to film her. But then my sister picked up the microphone, and at this point, I think she was, I want to say 4 or 5. She was singing on the microphone, and then you just see her like jump into the camera and just be like, and then she like did a dive like mid-screen. And it was just awesome. It was just one of those moments that really did make me laugh. And again, those moments you can never take away. Like, no matter what happens, though we might not remember them right away, we should try to at least acknowledge that, hey, this was something that did happen, this was something that did, make us happy, so why not remember them? And yeah, and talking about that, I do actually guess talk about my family. My family now, obviously my mom and my dad, and my mom's married to my stepdad now, and then they had another kid, so I have she's 10 years younger than me. I'm trying not to die here or get hit stupid tomato. Yeah, did have a sister 10 years younger than me, and then I do have a my half brother, because I always get confused between half and step brother. Step not related to half related to him. But I did have a half brother. He's, I think, 4 now, 4 or 5. Well, going into school, I'll say 5 or 6. It's around there somewhere. But that's my siblings in a sense, and they're pretty cool. I mean, even my half brother, I mean, he really likes Spider-Man, so we tend to watch Spider-Man movies a lot too. He's pretty awesome. And my sister, she's getting older. She's getting into those teen years. She's already has a Facebook, even though I was like, no, you're too young to freaking have a Facebook. You already have a phone. You don't need a freaking Facebook. So I kind of fight with her every now and then about that. But I mean, honestly, she is getting to that time, and I'm trying to prepare for that myself, because I guess you can kind of consider, I guess, as weirdly as it is, not only a brother, but as a father figure, and even, my mom has kind of pointed that out as well. And I guess it makes sense, but it's still kind of weird to me because, again, father, probably not the best role model, but I can kind of see it in just certain things that she says or does and acts, and it makes sense. And I'm just trying to get prepared for the teen years again because, they like to be all rebellious and fight and all this mumbo jumbo. And then she's obviously, I already told her, it's like when you get into high school, if you try to pull any shiznit, I'll know because I was a king of ditching. I ditched a whole year of high school, so I technically got a 4-year diploma in 3 years, and still passed with good grades, I might add. So, okay, not good grades. I'd say a C and above. Shoot, I totally went the wrong door, didn't I? God damn it, I'm an idiot. Or did I? I'm trying to remember. Honestly, no, it's not that door we want to go in. It's this door, because that's why there's that. Duh. And stupid boo. But I always tell her, like, yeah, I mean, anything you're going to try to get away with, don't even try, because it's not going to work. But then I also tell her, be like, hey, I understand. You're going to want to do things. You're going to want to be rebellious. I understand that. Just make sure when you are rebellious, just to be safe, because, I mean, it's like I've told everybody growing up. I told everybody. Be like, if you're going to drink, make sure you do have, like, a designated driver. If you do have, somebody watching you, especially if it's your first time. Because you don't always know, the body doesn't always respond the first couple of times. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say if you do have alcohol poisoning, and the body won't always know the first time that it's there. And I know a lot of people say, no, that's impossible. I've seen it. Maybe it's just like a very rare occasion, but I would still like to prevent it just in case. But it doesn't always know if you have alcohol poisoning, so you don't actually start vomiting, deucing, anything like that. And or if you don't get put onto your side, you can end up, dying, either choking on your own blood or vomit and yada, yada, yada. And so that's why I always tell people, like, hey, go with somebody who's experienced. If they see that you're wigging out, at least they'll know what to do, because I would hope they know what to do because, yeah, they're supposed to be responsible. So, and that goes for anything. If it goes for any sort of drugs, I mean, I don't condone drugs ever. Okay, ever. Then I would have to say, yeah, I don't condone pharmaceutical drugs either. But no, I mean, again, if you're gonna do it, just again, have somebody there who's done it before, who knows how you're supposed to act, and not freaking out and all that. Just be safe about it. Be safe and be smart. I don't think that's too much to ask, and at least I hope it's not too much to ask. And yeah, because at least with those experiences, it's like trying to say, hey, if you try something, why screw up the rest of your life because you wanted to experience it that first time? You need to understand that that is a possibility no matter what, but it doesn't mean it should always happen. So at least if you try to stack up odds against that, at least it's better in the long run for me. And it was kind of funny because, and we could go back to that ditching side. Yeah, I did ditch a lot of high school, and for reasons not necessarily, how to explain it, not necessarily, I'm trying to run up here. I'm gonna get this down. Okay, I think if I run this way, nope. Yeah, haha. Yeah, it's just a secret room. You could go up here. There's just stairs up there. You don't really need to know about it. And it's just this. It's not really all that special. But because I did do a lot of ditching, and it was because maybe I wanted to go hang out with people and do things we weren't supposed to be doing. But it was kind of funny because, as I said, I was the king of ditching. I wasn't like other people who just ditched and ended up just dropping the class or failing because they never showed up. No, if I ditched a lot. I might have ditched half or the whole class. I still ended up passing the class because I knew how to ditch. And every school is different. That's why you got to figure out every school's different rules and bylaws, because every school technically has that. And you kind of need to know how to work the system. But then that's why it was funny, because my counselor talked to me personally. He's like, hey, there's a bunch of freshmen that I want you to talk to. And I was like, and this was when I was senior, I was like, okay, what about? I was like, oh, it's just about ditching, and tell them that, show them as you as an experience, why they shouldn't ditch and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, well, I mean, okay, I will talk to them about that, and I'll tell them exactly what you want me to tell them. But if you only also let me, tell them exactly, the whole story. So, tell them exactly. I'm trying to remember how I phrased it. I was like, yeah, just tell them the truth. Tell them exactly if they're gonna ditch, at least, to be smart about it. And as I told her, and then she was really, really against it, but eventually, actually, I don't even think she condoned it, because I know as soon as she found out, she was like putting a stop to it. But I did talk to them, and I was saying, hey, it is bad to ditch, because honestly, it's a lot harder to catch up than it is to keep up, and that is, true no matter what. And honestly, if I could take it back now, I probably wouldn't have ditched, but after talking to them, it's like, yeah, it is harder to keep up than it is to catch up. So just make sure you actually stick with it and stay in there. Now, if there is times you do want to ditch, or if you're going to ditch, even I tell you not to ditch, at least, go about it smartly and do certain things to make sure that, you keep up with your grades and, you don't actually end up failing the class. And they were, I guess, thankful I told them that, but I know my counselor was kind of mad about that. And it was funny. It was just one of those moments that just makes me laugh, because no, it's like, why am I going to tell them? Be like, oh no, you need to do this, because it's just, I don't know, like I said, one mistake or one time where you need to do something should have messed up your whole entire life. So, I mean, I will always preach that no matter what about anything. So, well, okay, I guess I can't say that anything. It's like, hey, if you're gonna kill somebody, do it right, because just because you do it once doesn't mean you should screw up your whole life. No, it's not like that. It's just things. I guess that's where you get into the gray, moral gray area, we'll call it. So, but high school was a fun time, and I spent a whole year not in it, but it was a good time. And then I met a lot of people that I still kind of talk to today, kind of don't, but yeah. We won't even go into the whole high school never ends thing, so. But I still get people with that to this day. It's like, yeah, in case you didn't know, I actually I got a 4-year diploma in 3 years because I'm awesome, so, don't hate, appreciate. Try to remember another, because there was another accomplishment I used to tell people. Is like, yeah, this is an accomplishment, you should love me forever. Now, no, I can't remember for the life of me. It was probably something stupid, to be honest, so it's nothing too great to be excited about. I needed something. Damn it. Okay, we'll get this. Ooh. And now I'm all storied out. I honestly don't know what else to talk about. Let's see if I can get up here. I know there's a way to do this. I'm going to do it. Wait, give me a second. No, okay, you gotta do kind of like a small jump. It'd just be easier with the Yoshi. But whatever. But I am actually all storied out right now. I can't really think of anything to talk about. I guess I could talk about my situation now. So, even though I really didn't want to say anything, I actually do work for GameStop. And it's kind of interesting, because it's an interesting experience, because it is a retailer and a pawn shop in a sense. And with that, it's weird, because I've never worked for a retail before, though I've had, in a sense, a retail experience, because I've worked for, technically, one call center, but I've worked for it twice in different divisions. Technically, 3 different divisions, now that I think about it. And with that, I've gotten a lot of training with retention, so obviously keeping a customer when they try to cancel something. And with that as well, I guess I had the pawn experience, or retail experience, in a sense, not like 100%, bam, it's retail experience. But with retail, especially with GameStop, you always are encouraged to upsell and, try to get a customer to buy something else when they come in to buy it, because that's exactly how the store is surviving with that. So we are encouraged to upsell. Whereas with retention, you were trying to keep customers, so you were always looking for the best way to keep them. You had to get to know the person, and with this, to make it more specific, so a credit card. Worked for a credit card company, had to tell them, be like, hey, you want to cancel your credit card. It's like, okay, yeah, I can understand that. Definitely going to go ahead and do that for you today. If you don't mind in the process, though, I may ask you a couple of questions just to better understand your account. And it's like, okay, so why are you closing your account today? I was like, well, the interest rate's too high. And with that, obviously, back in the day when I first worked for it, it wasn't as big of a deal. We could actually have more flexibility with it. Nowadays, everything's all about the interest rate, so it's very rarely you will ever get a low interest rate unless you actually are keeping your account, like, amazing, and you've done it every 6 months, yada yada yada. But Back then it wasn't so much, so that was usually something we could do. But if it came to a point where it's like, let's say, hey, you know, let's say it's like, oh, well, I'm sick of making these late payments. Like, I can't seem to make it every single time, yada, yada, yada. And then that's when you could be like, oh, hey, you know, we got these online services that can help you pay. And then because, you know, I understand definitely how hard it is to make that, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to go ahead and waive that late fee for you today so you won't have to worry about paying that this time around. And, oh, I did not want that. Stop grabbing that, and then you should be good to go. And so that would make some customers be like happy. I was like, oh, thank you, I definitely utilize that service. I've never known. But then sometimes you'll get people that really just don't want help, and they really honestly just want to cancel their credit card. So that's when it gets kind of iffy, because you have to get the 3 no rule, technically 3 hard no's. So if they don't say no 3 times, then you gotta kind of keep pushing until bam, you're good. And that's when customers get kind of angry. But if you could deal with that, honestly, if you can deal with that side of call centers, you can do anything. I mean, there is honestly nothing you can't do, because that's like with the worst of the worst. That's where most of the angry people will come out. That's where you will be told the most derogatory things ever. If you could do that, you could do anything. I can almost guarantee you. As far as customer service goes, I'm not saying, oh yeah, you worked with angry customers, you could totally build a building by yourself. No. With customer service relations, yeah, if you could do that, you could do anything else, honestly. And it's tough. I mean, after a while, I mean, even I couldn't handle it. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So, on that note, we will continue this in the next episode. For now, I'm going to cut it there for now. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying this series so far. And this has been Generation 71. We'll catch you guys later.